So I just picked up this Strato-Flight. We got it in a trade with TNT Amusements. They don't really keep EMs. They kind of get rid of them for cheap. And this works. It works fine. I've seen a video of it working. Someone's already been through it. You know, it doesn't need rubbers or anything. They actually even went so far as to get these nice apron cards printed out. I'm hoping the flippers are strong enough. I'm the only person that seems to rebuild them when they're old. The neck broke. That was cool. That the neck just snapped off. But I have another. I think I just popped that T-nut out a bit. Wonderful. I have another neck, which is a very normal thing to have spares of, is Williams necks. I mean, I'm pretty much just going to fix a couple of cosmetic things, clean it up really good, and then put it out for play. This is going to get repainted, which actually works out really well. I tend to paint these white when they're, they've yellowed out. Of course, there's none in this row close by anymore. But this works out. I mean, I could spend the time cleaning this up and making it nice, keeping it original, but I don't care. It looks like somebody just, I don't know, was wailing on that with an ice pick. And then there's also this big chunk missing out of the head. I am going to see what I can do for this. Now, the proper way to do this would be to fill it in, sand it flat, make sure it's all goody-goody. I'm not going to do that. This is not a valuable game at all. It's fun. It's not valuable. And I don't really care. This is going to get shoved next to other games anyway, but I'm just going to kind of make it a 50-footer, better than the big tears. This side's okay. I'm going to need to clean the art up, which I'm going to talk about how I do that. I'm not very good at matching colors, so I'm gonna touch this up somewhat poorly, and then I'm gonna come back later and do it better. Again, this will be shoved in between other games, so it won't be that bad. The playfield art's pretty good. Let me get this together and I'll show you. I love this lift part. And I just sit here. It goes up for me. Oops. Oh, good. I was going to say, I didn't grab the key. Right, it was labeled E00. Oh, I don't have one of those either. It's open. Oh. 63,000 on the play counter, 6.3, 6.44. That kind of adds up with the playfield wear. I think that's correct. I don't think it's been rolled. It needs a new power cord. It's got a 2-prong. Alright, so here's this. I love my overhead light. A couple things. This lockdown bar is really, really scratched up. I so happen to have another one. Again, very normal thing for a 21-year-old to have. It's multiple Williams lockdown bars. So I'm going to take this, put a better one on. This will go in the junk metal pile. This glass is passable. I don't think I'm going to replace it. I mean, it's got a couple big scratches, but it kind of matches up. The playfield's not bad. You can see a lot of vertical lining. It was probably somewhere kind of moist. Yeah, it does show up on camera. But there's no paint missing. And it doesn't look like the inserts are pulling away. They definitely look like they're sunken at least a little bit. But I think a really good cleaning and polishing will get this game pretty much up to where I want it to be. I'm going to replace this white out hole. These always yellow out. This is no difference. Oh, somebody put purple star posts on this. I noticed that when I was picking it up. These came with the red circles, the red star posts you find on every other Williams EM of the time. I've got the closest one is this Liberty Bell. It would come with these because that style of purple star one didn't come out until later. I think they first were seen on the System 6 Williams games. So somebody had this whole playfield apart at some point. It also looks like I've got a new plunger spring. The barrel spring's new. The interior spring looks shiny enough to be new. And the apron's in fair enough condition. Oh, the legs. Let me go over to the legs. Here's one of the legs that came with it. You can see I've shot it with some primer. Now, at some point, I'm going to paint these. I have a nice silver that's very close to what they looked like originally and put them back on the game. But it's very cold outside, and if you can see, the paint cans are spitting, and it's also just not curing as well. Just goes the loud ass heater. So what I'm gonna do is I have some nice legs I painted a while ago that I was gonna use for a project on this old Chicago. And I painted them white. I hadn't realized that old Chicago was off-white and not white. Now I understand there's gonna be a big contrast on this cabinet because the white on the cabinet's all old and crusty, but I'm going to be able to brighten it up. And it's something I'm gonna show you in a bit. So I'm gonna use these nice legs for it. I got one out. I painted this, and the paint color itself came out very nicely. I primed it, I painted it, I cleared it, and unfortunately what kind of happened to these are used, by the way. These weren't, I don't paint new legs because they're nice and shiny, is that the paint comes off kind of easily. You can see that. I never had these on a game. I just stored them, and there's paint coming off in the corners. But again, for this cabinet, it'll look great. And it actually gives it quite a nice two-tone, especially if I can get these white stripes cleaned up. And they'll have nice silver feet in it too, which, you know, I think it affects the look of the game. So I always try to get new ones in there if it needs it. The other ones I had to just saw and drill out. The bolts here, are they all the same type? Yes, they are. Sometimes you get a mixed bag. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these to the wire wheel and clean them up, stick them all through a piece of cardboard, and then just spray some clear on them so they don't oxidize again soon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. I like fixing and reusing stuff. This is a wire wheel from the 1960s. It's pedestal based, and I believe it belonged to a high school. That says, ooh, it says my strap's in front of the camera. There we go. West Morris Regional. I don't know. It sounds like a school. Rockwell still exists. I think they make audio equipment now. But it works great, and things used to be built significantly better. You could still get parts for these too, because it's just a motor, and these wheels on the end they have a standardized sizing for. So I like this, but let me get these done. Safety. I'm just going to put it in my pocket. So check it out. You can see this one's all kind of crusty, rusty, and nasty. You know, it's a used bolt. What do you expect? You hit all the sides on it. All the flat sides. Kind of, this one's domed, so you got to hit the dome on this. Alright, hit the flat on the bolt. This is it's kind of a quality of life thing. Could I just put these bolts in rusty and will they thread in? Yes, they will thread in. It's kind of a cheap ass thing to do. Also, if you've got the rust on the threads, you have a chance of screwing it up. You know, it's going to thread in hard. It could cross thread if you're being stupid. And frankly, I like to kind of put quality into what I do. You know, I'd rather take the time to do it right than have it done now. If you do it right, it'll, in most cases, last longer. I mean, this doesn't apply to that. But, you know, you do something, you do it once, you do it right, it lasts for a long time, you feel good about it. You do it cheaply, you kind of screw it up, or, you know, you just throw a coat of paint on it without prepping it, then it doesn't last very long, it doesn't look very good. It's functional, it works in a pinch, but unless you're in a pinch, I prefer to do it right. So here's that bolt. This one was a little bit difficult to get the crap off of, but you can see the threads that won't focus. There you go, nice and clean. And I'll chase the threads in the cabinet too, so they're nice and clean. It'll thread in like it's brand new. I'm gonna finish the rest of these. Here's actually the other legs that came with it, and I've been using this to get the nuts out because, or the feet, because they're really jammed in there. I only got the two of them off, the one that was primed and then this one. So I'm going to shove them in the leg corner, which needs to move. I just bought this compressor. It's not usually here. So I got to find another spot for the legs, which I have a feeling is going to be with the engine crane. So I'm going to throw some clear or maybe some color on these bolts, although I think it's going to be clear because I don't have any good color. Let's see. All right, so while I'm waiting for the stuff to dry on the bolts, I'm going to handle this neck. The neck that came on the game is right here. Mostly a neck. But it looks like it was black. And I have, from the last video, that really nice black that I could paint a neck. I'm not going to bother repairing this one, because I have another one. And I have to prep the other one for black paint, get it painted black, and then I'm going to take my break to make some lunch. So that one's over on this Liberty Bell. I got to get these out. They're usually just nailed down, so just take something in there and pry it out. Come on. I don't want to splinter the wood, I want the neck. Come on. It didn't even really pop it up at all. It just kind of, it dug into the cabinet, not the neck, which is nice. I don't really give a crap about the cabinet. Alright, well this isn't going to come apart in one piece. Well then I guess I'll just repair the other one. So then I need this. Or was it this? Doesn't matter. Alright, yeah, we're going to repair the other one. It's going to work out better. Plus, this didn't come apart nicely. I was hoping it would come apart in one piece, kind of like the other one did. But at least we can make a repair here. So what I ended up doing to this neck is I got the transplant piece, which was on the wrong side, but they're cut identically, other than the paint being like that, so I just flipped it. I drilled some holes and then got some screws as flat as I could. They cracked a little bit back here, but this is the back of the neck, so thankfully it's not that bad. I sanded it flat. I'm not going crazy with sanding this down to the wood, because if you kind of look, the wood on these is usually imperfect anyway. You know, there's going to be divots, there's going to be things, not to mention the two screws that are going to face the player. I'm going to try and just bury them in paint. I'm going to get that paint going, and then I'm hungry, so I'm going to get that. Also this, like, it's clearly not perfect. And then I got to see what I'm doing about these nails, because they pulled out, so maybe I have some real long screws that would go in instead. They would work a lot better. Here's the neck, repaired and painted. I was going to film me painting it. I was kind of just like, nah, nobody cares. What are you going to see me brush it? The paint's still wet. This is that same head paint I used on Dirty Harry. So that's the color. It's going to end up being a nice kind of matte. It says satin on the bottle. It's closer to matte. So I'm going to let that dry up, make sure I didn't get any stains on the glass or rails, which will clean off if I did. Get the head reattached, and then I think I'm going to move to working on this cabinet. See how this is yellow? That does show up on camera. Here's your white. This is yellow. I can get this off. Some of it off. The touch-up, well, I don't know. We're going to see how that goes. I don't know. Like I said, I'm very bad at mixing paints, so if this isn't close to something I already have, I'm just going to wait for someone who's a little better to help me. But I can get these clouds to be a lot more white, and that's also going to knock off all this loose stuff. Before I go to put this together and turn it on, it's got this power cord in it. It's just old, and the insulator on the front was sitting in the cabinet, which is made of cardboard. That's a good idea. And the contacts on these older plugs are kind of close. I'd really rather not burn down the whole shop. So I'm going to yank this out, and I have proper modern replacements. And it has 3 wires for the power plug. Brown and yellow are normal, and then there's gray. I assume gray is taking the place of green. Williams had a bunch of wire shortages in the 70s. All their manuals say wire colors are subject to change. So I'm going to look that up and not just assume that that's supposed to be green, because it'd be kind of bad if I wired it wrong. However, it was capped off in the first place and had nothing connected to it, so it's almost certainly ground. I'm just going to check. Oh, it says ground. Oh, it actually says ground wire. Okay, well, I could just read. Just use my eyes and read, shouldn't I? Okay. I'm just going to put that on then. I've gotten the new power cord installed, and I opted to solder it straight in with proper heat shrink instead of using the typical wire nuts. I know this makes it harder for the next person, but the last power cord was from the 70s. It really does not get replaced that often. The neck's all painted and is secured back in. I ended up reusing the nails because I didn't have any screws long enough. Even it's tapered up here because of the screw. I didn't have a tapered screw that was long enough, but it's secure, and you can't tell that I replaced. Actually, it was this side, so that works out pretty well. Aiden's been working on cleaning the gunk off of the cabinet, so I have to go back through and polish all of this out, but it got a lot of the brown out. Do you have the brown sponge, or did you throw it out? Well, this is the blue sponge. So this is actually a little bit of the cabinet paint coming off, which is fine. What you're doing during this process is you're basically just taking the very top layer of everything off. Paint, contaminants, other crap. I don't know if they even clear coated these from factories. I think they just sprayed through the stencil straight onto the wood and then left it that way. So I'm going to get this polished up. He's going to start cleaning the other side, polish that side up, get the legs on, and go from there. So we got the polishing done on this side, but I had him come back and redo some of the clouds. Some of the paint actually lifted, which I've never had happen before. It lifted and smeared. You can see it happened over here. That's some of the blue. This side has some Novus 2 on it at the moment, so it looks a little bit funky. So I'm having him go back through and take out any blue that ended up on the white. And then we were a little more cautious with the front of the cabinet. Unfortunately, this is a little crunchy, and I'm not sure what this is. It looks like there might have been a sticker here, probably an operating sticker, and the adhesive doesn't want to come off. I have some adhesive remover I could try, but given the paint just lifted off with a magic eraser, I think I'm just going to leave it and deal with it. We went back and got any of the extra blue staining off, so it looks good. For the moment, I'm going to hold off on doing any touch-up because we still need to get the head done. It's starting to get late. This has to get repainted, and we're going to clean up this head best we can. I think I will do the touch-up there because that's bad. It is actually pieces of wood being missing. It's not just paint being missing, so no matter what I do, that's going to kind of look like crap, but it'll be better than whatever that is. The other side of the head is fine. It's just dirty. These white legs that I had actually look really good for this cabinet. I quite like them. A side note is I clean these flipper buttons out as well. They're always gummy, and I found out that the cabinet flipper switch on the right side needs replaced. You can't really see it, but it's very thin. It's starting to arc, and it's actually melting the right side flipper button. So we're going to get this head on and get started with that. Can you give everyone a rundown of how this works? How all the assemblies in the head work?
Nah.
Anyway, the head's on all right. It's actually not too shaky. The Williams heads tend to bounce around a lot. This one does a little bit, but it's very, very minor. And it's not the typical spots. The head is the neck is fully secured on. The head bolts are tight all the way. These corner supports, it's very bright, are intact, and the head's not shaking from there. This back box bit is moving quite a lot. I'm not sure why. Looks like some of the screws pulled out, so I'm going to see if I can get that to calm down a little bit. Then I'm going to move on to cleaning the playfield after we get everything on the head done. And then that should be everything we need to do. I really am not sure what I'm going to do about this, 'cause I'm not filling this head. At least not now. I might come back to it later. I'm debating whether or not to even throw some crappy touch-up on there. I think we're going to see what color white this comes out and what this cleans up to be. If it's close, I'll do it. If it's way off, no, probably not. And I don't really have the blue. I don't know. Aiden's working on sanding the head for me right now, so I'm going to clean the head. But if you look at the difference in white between the head and the body, you can really see that the head is still yellowed and the body's nice and white. So I'm going to get this done to the head. I am going to have to circle back to this game at some point. It's not fully LED'd, just the GI is LED'd. And whoever fixed these flippers, it's got like new EOS, new flipper bushings. They did it wrong. They're both set too low, and it's kind of making some of the shots unplayable. You need full LEDs or no LEDs. You don't do half LEDs. The only way you can get away with doing some LEDs in a game is if you're doing back glass only, and it is the retro bright LEDs, like if you're doing an EM and you're just trying to keep it original looking but save the heat from the back glass, that's fine. But this half and half stuff is really annoying. I'm going to repaint this now. I got... Oh yeah, I don't know if what happened here. It looks like somebody was just stabbing the head. They were bored. I'm replacing the pop lights because they don't work, and I think I figured out why it doesn't work. I'm gonna take bets on if the same thing happened in here. Nope. Okay, so when you put LEDs in, you have to crush these old old pop bumper sockets down. They're always finicky because they're old and frankly the design isn't the best. But you just crush them a little bit without shorting it, stuff the bulb in there so it's real tight, it's good. And I found some extra screws for at least 2 of these pop bumper caps because they were loose. I didn't like it. There's not a lot going on for this game. I think the only way to really play this is to get it up and into the pops here and just kind of pray that it hits targets. You can aim for the A targets and for the D targets, but whoever last did this has the flipper set too low, so you can't hit B and C at the moment. I'll circle back and get it done. The game's fine for right now. It's going to go on the floor and get played. Nothing's broken. I'm just going to have to come back for some odds and ends. Like, there's still a couple incandescents in here. I have to get a lock for the back plate that I can actually use. So right now it's just open. No one's going to touch it. People around here tend to be a little smarter. I still have to get to the head here. There's no lock for the coin door. I got to go through a couple things. This rubber circle here doesn't bounce, really. The ball just hits it and it kind of stops. It doesn't have a good bounce to it at all. So it plays, and it plays fairly well. But it was great. But it still needs stuff. So I'm gonna have to circle back to this. Come on in, show. It's really not hard to beat me here. Strato-Flight.